up your head, pick up your body, get on the bus, it's time to party. It's Gregory, it is a Saturday night, Gregory. Take your socks off and take your pants on, get in the car and drive on.
Hello, welcome to Friday Night Greg, Friday Night Energy, and a goddamn Wednesday morning. We have a guest today. I know, it's crazy. We have an actual guest, not just some dumb fuck comedian who hangs around with me. This guy, I'm a huge fucking fan. Huge fan. You don't even know. First of all, I don't. Because you don't even know me.
We met 2 seconds ago.
We met 2 seconds ago, yeah. You know, I talk about, I'm a big Aesop Rock fan. This guy has done produced all of my favorite Aesop Rock songs, and on top of that has saved me a ton of times when I was too high to be alive. I'm just, also, what do we call you? Is it Mr. Block?
I mean,
Blockhead?
you call me Blockhead, you call me Tony. Tony's my real name,
Tony.
if you're more comfortable calling me Tony.
You dying?
No. Shockingly not. No, I'm it's I don't look Italian. And but yeah, I just have the name
Tony.
Yeah, just Tony.
If I call you Tony, you become Italian to me.
Yeah.
Me and fucking Tony were hanging out the other day.
It's very much like anywhere I travel in the country. When I say my real name, they're like Tony, and I'm like yeah, it's more Anthony, really.
Yeah, Tony.
Yeah.
Tony?
Yeah.
Don.
I'm like my mom with blonde hair, blue eyes. Like, it wasn't really that kind of party.
Oh man, that's awesome. So I'm not actually going to call you anything. We're just talking. I usually don't do names.
I'm the only other person in the room.
Exactly.
Talking to, so it's okay.
Yeah. So thanks for coming.
Oh, my pleasure.
What's actually crazy is notoriously on my podcast I am way too accessible to my fans. Did a Rad Dude cast, the old podcast I gave up my phone number in like one episode. To this day,
that's insane.
Every now and again, I'll get a phone call once a month. Well, not when you have 1,000 fans. Okay. You know what I mean?
Enough,
it's like not that no one gives a shit. But I still get phone calls. We were like, "Hello," and I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Is this Greg?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Why did you do this?" And I'm like, "Well, what are you up to?" And they're like, "I gotta go." Like I freak them out. I'm a huge fan, and I was just stoned. And you tweeted, and I went, I wonder if I'll do my podcast. And then you responded and said yes.
Yeah.
And I went, what? I didn't know anyone else fucking does that.
I like podcasts. I used to have a podcast. So I like podcasts. I just like free form talking instead of interviews because I think interviews are stupid.
Yeah.
But also like when you told me where it was, and I was like, oh, this is like too easy. Like it's so convenient. It's unbelievably convenient for me.
That's the key to a good podcast. Just be near their house.
Yeah,
that's the move.
And it's not over Skype or whatever the other Zoom. It's very
That's when I got scared because the second thing you were like, "How do you do it?" And I was like, "We can do it over Zoom, but I really don't want to." And you're like, "No, I don't want to either." And I was like, "Yeah, awesome, good." Because it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, we're out of the COVID now. Before we get into it, I do want to tell you that I got pretty stoned last night, and I woke up this morning and I went, "You wrote questions." So I have a bunch of very high stoned interview questions. I read one. I was like, I'm not going to read them because I just want it to be, I want to see what the fuck they are. But I know how I get when I get high, and it's like, oh, these are going to probably be unanswerable. I'll
try.
Yeah, I mean,
try my best.
But yeah, thanks for coming in. You were raised here in New York, right?
I grew up like 6 blocks from here.
Yeah?
I grew up in the West Village on Bedford Street. And I've lived down here my whole life.
Yeah. That's what do you got? What are you doing now? Because you're doing. Are you touring?
I did tour in the fall. Like I did a bunch of shows. It was weird. COVID touring's been weird. I don't know if you've left the city at all to do shows, but it's weird.
It is weird.
Definitely weird. And it was definitely weird. It's weirder in some places than others.
Yeah.
But I'm back now for a while, and I'm just kind of chilling because I missed chilling when I was touring. When I was touring, I was like, oh, I'd rather be home.
Yeah.
And now I'm back. So
Garbology just came out. I have to make sure I do the right thing and plug the fuck. I don't do this shit, so I have to make sure to plug the album's fucking awesome.
Thank you.
It's like I don't think you told enough people because all of a sudden it was like 2 weeks before, and they were like, Aesop and Blockhead are putting out a new album, and I was like, what?
Oh no, that was the approach.
Oh, that was
like they dropped the single and like no one knew anything about it.
Yeah,
Aesop had been dropping little like Easter eggs in his like Instagram stories and stuff, and I had been like alluding to it in random tweets or something like that, but it was very vague. And then we just dropped the single, and people were like, "What?"
Yeah,
and then the album came out 2 weeks later, and that was it.
See, that works when you have fans.
Yeah.
When it's me and I just put something out, no one knows, no one gives a shit. They just go like 5 views, great, who cares?
I mean, to be fair, if it was a solo me album, it would have been way less of a thing. You know, it's when Aesop's attached to it, it makes it a much bigger thing. You know, it's not really my name's not really fucking tipping the scales.
Is it not?
I mean, you know,
is that why you're here?
Yeah, it's because I'll do anything. I'll do anything. No, it's just like I have a niche fan base and everything,
Right.
but it's not. I'm not doing Aesop numbers.
Sure. I don't know what Aesop numbers are, but I would.
good.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know why I said
good.
that. I guess what I meant to say is I feel like with producers, and I could be wrong, but a lot of times it feels a lot like in comedy, it's like writers and comic book artists. It's like people who like they do a lot of. Oh Jesus! I just spit all over the table. A lot of the work, ton of fucking work, and yet no credit. You get almost like. You're like the fucking guitar player, or I don't know, the people who like write the music. You know, like
You're not the lead singer.
you're not the lead fucking singer.
I mean, I would say it's gotten better for producers though, because now there's like super like famous producers. I mean, there's like a guy like Diplo is a producer,
Right.
Like that guy, But
I'll just say right.
Diplo,
Diplo, of course.
Diplo.
I know Duplex. There's a Lego. I was trying to make that joke. It failed. Kill myself. Anyway,
But yeah, no, I think producers are. It's kind of a point where like they're getting shine and
Right.
But at the end of the day, like people like vocals.
right.
So like whatever you do with vocalists, like I make instrumental albums, but the stuff I do with rappers always gets more attention than
the shit you do
instrumental stuff.
on your own, it stands alone. I know.
I think so.
Can I tell you this story? I got to tell you this story.
Go for it.
And this is what. And please, whenever you want to talk, you just jump in.
Yeah,
Because
right.
I mostly just don't stop talking. I was working at this comedy club, Go Bananas, in Cincinnati, and this club is run by comedians, meaning like. There's usually like some kind of owner there's some kind of dad. There's no dads or moms in this place. It's just you go. The chef is a cook. The chef is a comedian. Then he's getting on stage. The roofer had an iPhone watching YouTube and nailing shit in because he's just a comedian trying to get stage time. So it's just like maniacs. So at the end of the shows, people get real fucked up. I got so high.
I was about to say fucked up like high or they're like siblings fighting each other.
Everyone fights.
Yeah.
At the end, everyone just gets a big fight
Like
club.
Lord of the Flies fucking comedy club. It sounds like.
You want a headline, you gotta kill the headline.
It's just
Now everyone just gets super fucking stoned and drunk, fucked up. It's like a party. It's like a party club, but
Sounds fun.
it's the best.
Yeah.
It really is the best. It's great. But I got too high. I got into weed very late in life. I was straight edge growing up.
I feel a theme here.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Of you getting too high.
yeah, it does happen quite a lot. Well, it's not that I get. What happens is I have a very low tolerance.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
One drink and I'm a party boy.
Yeah.
That's just what happens.
That's fun. It's but it's better for you.
way better.
Yeah.
And when I get high, I'm already almost high all the time. So as soon as I get a little high, I'm like, here we go, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got super fucking stoned. They were doing this weird thing where it was like a weird bubbler thing that they were pouring smoke into a cup and you drink the smoke. It was something, it's like Star Wars or some shit. I have no idea. I don't even know if my memory betrays me, but it was like a crazy thing that we were like, somehow, anyway, I was so fucking stoned. I end up in the comedy condo. All these comedians are just a rat. And I'm so high, everyone starts to look like demons. You're looking at people and like their eyes are sinking in. And I'm like,
It was like that. Were you on mushrooms?
I've never done mushrooms, but I mean, I was
It's never too late.
bored. The goal was on my 40th birthday, I was going to do them. And then it didn't happen.
I don't have kids, but I hear that it's different when you have kids. Like when you have responsible people that you're responsible for, I imagine it might be different.
Well, I'm going to do them.
Might be but do them in like with people you trust in a place that you're comfortable.
Not the kid while I'm driving.
No, not in the. Don't take some mushrooms and like feed your child for like an hour.
Dude, like my first few days of having the kid, I couldn't sleep. So I was like, I'll just take this edible. And I forgot that like, no, you have a kid. You have to. So I took this edible and I'm holding the baby. And then like he started to become me. And I was like, oh, you came for me and now come back to me. I had to wake my wife up. I was like, honey, can you just watch him? And I didn't want to tell her it's because I was high. And she doesn't listen to the podcast, so she'll never know. But I was way too stoned to be holding this child. Anyway, Go Bananas. I'm too high. People become demons. I'm starting to like not trust everyone. Like, I don't know who you fucking people are. This Asian woman, this matters for the story. Asian woman comes up to me and she has like pigtails. And I remember she goes, hey, are you okay? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, and she goes, come with me. And I went, I will follow this child. I thought she was a child, but she was like, I'm an adult.
Just small.
Walks me in. Yeah, she had like pigtails, and I was too fucking stoned, and like she looked like Sailor Moon, like, hello, okay, follow me. And I was like, yes, I will, young one. And she sits me down in front of a TV with a bunch of other people who were all clearly also too high. I think this was like the too high room.
Right. The chill room.
The chill room.
The chill room. That's like raves had that back then.
Yeah. She goes, sit. We're going to put something on for you. She put on the music scene music video.
This is a familiar story.
Yes. I think you must hear this a lot.
Every show, there's someone's like, man, I've been so high to that video. Or like, I was on acid when I watched that video for 2 hours. I'm like, that's crazy.
I apologize to tell you the hacky thing, but you should know the good work it's doing.
Oh, I mean, it's an amazing video. I wish I could say I had more to do with it.
No, but the music.
I did the music, but the animation's insane.
Sure, but
it's a very impressive.
It's mom and dad situation here.
Yeah.
Okay, because you take the music away. That's raising a single. That's a single mom raising a kid. All right. She's trying her best, but she's not getting it all done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's the fucking music is fucking. It had me in, and then I'm watching it, and I got up and I went, I'm different. I'm different now. And it like, then I was like, oh, I didn't know it was you because I was already a fan, but I didn't know it was your like single stuff. And someone was like, that's Block. That's Mr. Head. That's Mr. Block.
As I'm known in the street. Me and Nancy Reagan, both as Mr. Head. That's the best story of all time, by the way.
I don't know what it is. Please, someone tell me because I'm seeing Reagan. I have no idea what we're talking about.
How are you on Twitter? You don't know this?
As I only pay attention to myself.
Oh man. So someone wrote a book and basically said that Nancy Reagan was known for giving the best head in Hollywood in the 50s. Like she was a real head doctor in the 50s. And that's just the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
That doesn't seem like a gotcha interview. That seems like a great interview.
But also you got to think about like what head was like in the 50s.
Right.
Right. There's like bugles and shit.
Cooking gloves on.
Like she was the first person to ever use her hand or something. Like she's like,
yeah. She touched my nipples.
Yeah, she's I tweeted that she's the Bob Cousy of head. Because she's like,
Siri, who's Bob Cousy?
He's a very old basketball player who dribbled with one hand but was like a superstar.
Oh, that's awesome.
In like the 1950s, before like the league was integrated, or like around the time the league.
I actually knew that.
Yeah.
Fuck. My best friend is a big basketball fan, and the bit is that I refuse to acknowledge sports, even though I know. Let me tell you this real quick story.
Yeah.
So sorry. He wrote for a sports show one time. He was his show, and he was like, you have to the producers have to. I can't just get you the job.
Yeah.
So you have to interview with them. So I spent the whole night and I just memorized all of Sean Kemp's Wikipedia page. So every question they asked, I brought back to some kind of Sean Kemp fact. And they were like, Michael Jordan's got rings. Yeah, he's got rings. But you know who's got a lot of kids? Sean Kemp. And they just were like, yeah, we love this guy. He's great. He knows so much about basketball. But everything I answered was about Sean Kemp.
All Sean Kemp?
It's all Sean Kemp.
I mean, that's a good guy to know about.
I guess. I don't know. Oh, and I know about this guy I looked up yesterday. Aziz. No, this is Padul.
What sport is it?
It was basketball, but he was the guy they changed the rule on because he was just a dirty cheater. He got in. He's from.
I wonder who that is. I should know that.
A wild country, and by wild, that's a weird thing to say.
Abdul Nabi or something?
No, white guy from like. He got on. When I tell you this, you might know. He got on the All-Star team because all of his country voted for him, and he wasn't good enough to be on the team. His name is Azuz, but it's like something weird.
Is this recent?
Only God knows. It's from a YouTube video. He also.
I should absolutely. I know a lot about basketball. I should know this, but that's not ringing a bell at all.
They also changed the rule because when people would jump for a shot, he'd put his leg in and they'd land on him.
Oh, Omar Asik. I know who that guy is. The guy who would put his feet under people and break and fuck their ankles up.
I might have fucked this up,
but I forget his name. But.
You ever see the Bowen clip of the guy who fly kicked the dude in the face? It's one of my favorite basketball.
No. Bruce Bowen?
Bowen.
Kicked someone in the face.
Dude, it's the most flagrant. Do you have any way to pull this up, Michael Suarez, a.k.a. Mike? What am I doing? I'm so riddled up right now. Caffeinated. I'm flying.
Wait, you're on Ritalin?
Adderall.
I was about to say, like Ritalin. That's like you're bringing it back. That's like Ludes. Taking Ludes now or something.
Fucking Ludes.
I took Ritalin once because I thought I was supposed to have ADD. Like I was terrible in school, so I just kept taking ADD. Or they kept thinking I had ADD. But Ritalin made me feel like I was like on crack.
Yeah.
And because of Ritalin, I've never done coke in my life because it didn't work for me.
I've also never done coke. and I took Ritalin, and it made me the same. It made me like almost. I remember I was talking to my best friend, and I go, "If he says one more word, I'm gonna break his fucking nose. I'm gonna break this guy." And he's my best friend. I had no idea what that was about. So I got off. Then I do have really bad ADHD, so I got back on, and it's good. But if I combine it with coffee,
oh my God,
I do not stop talking.
I can't even drink coffee.
Really?
Like I'm super sensitive to caffeine. I got a really weird. My body deals with things in funny ways. So, and not even like I'm unhealthy. It's just like caffeine fucks me up.
Yeah.
Like my hangovers are like I could have 3 drinks, be mildly tipsy, and then feel like I like drank a keg the night before. It doesn't like this doesn't matter.
No, I'm the same. I'm ultra sensitive to stuff. Caffeine will make me wild, but I haven't slept in a month because of this kid.
Yeah.
So I had to do something.
Yeah.
Because you were also like, I'm a little hungover. I'm like, I haven't slept. This podcast is gonna be like, so I love your hat, man. You want to just nap? We should just take a nap. We should just sleep. Bruce Bowen foul is the thing. This is by far the greatest foul I've ever seen in my life.
Were he fly kicks? Oh, like
Dude, I don't even want to tell you. You'll see.
I mean,
It's one.
He was a very dirty player.
Yeah.
He was a very, very dirty player.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love a son of a bitch. Give me a rat bastard any day of the week. Let me get you. So these are some questions.
Oh, yeah. Go
I
for it.
wrote when oh my God, there's more than I thought. Some of them will probably have to just go through. The first one just says, "Are you happy? Ask him 3 times more serious until he tells you the truth. Then you'll know." We don't have to do that one.
I mean, you know what? I'm a very content person.
Yeah? What's content? Is that happy?
It's I'm neither high nor low. Like I'm like someone call it autistic.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't get too high, I don't get too low. I'm always pretty even, and I'm never sad.
I'm never sad.
I'm rarely sad, and I'm never like super psyched either.
Right.
I'm just I waver between like pretty happy and or unenthused.
That's a pretty great place to be, though.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people walking around just
Other people don't like it.
really.
Well, not on a personal level, but like comparing it to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like I definitely people who aren't like that resent it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they make everything about themselves, and they see your happiness,
Yeah.
and they go, "Well, this guy's got other things." It's like, no.
Or they don't believe it. Or they're like,
right.
"Oh, you go home and cry." I'm like, "No, not really."
So, are you happy?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Are you happy?
No, no,
Damn, got him on too. No, but I think that's kind of like the best way to be. Like, I get emotional. I'm a very emotional Italian, but I'm never like I'm not negative. I have this weird thing I talk about in my life where I just go like, I think we're all factories of we all can make stuff. Some people make art, some people make things, but we all make like happiness or sadness. And if you just genuinely put happiness out in the world, other people get that, and that spreads. Like it literally spreads.
Yeah.
And if you're just some negative, every movie you see is like, it sucked. Because it's like, fuck off, man. Like you're putting negative shit into the world constantly.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
People like being around people who are not angry all the time.
Right.
And yeah, I think I've only heard about comedians. I mean, I've known comedians over the years and stuff, and I'm a big fan of comedy.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like you just heard about stand up. Like,
what is this thing you do?
They do jokes?
No, but I know I've known some comedians over the years, and I've been following comedy since I was a child.
Yeah.
And there's certain things that you hear about comedians,
Right?
that they are self-loathing, they hate themselves. And,
Yeah.
But you know what? Musicians are not that different.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
Artists.
I think a lot of them are, but I think they don't all have to be, because I think a lot of times then they go, well, that's what I have to be, or else I'm not one of them.
Right.
And I'm not that. Like I refuse to not be. I refuse to not be. Joyous or whatever. Like get happiness in life. It
Seems like an older style of comedy. Like the older comedians were all like you had to be molested to be funny. And
that's still true.
Yeah,
that's why I have this bar set up. If you want to be a comedian, I could pay a guy molest you. This is not going to a place I need. All right,
but it seems like there's there's comedians now who are kind of like happier,
right?
Or like less. I don't know. I mean, just as an outside observer.
No,
you'd know better than I would. But it's.
Let me say this: if you're at all pausing because you feel like you're stalking out of turn, do not think that. Say whatever wild shit you want, anything you think. Who cares if it's wrong? Because I'm going to do the same thing to you.
Yeah.
Because I'm this close to calling you a DJ. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite.
I know you're not, but it's like. Also, I don't know what DJs do.
They play other people's music.
They just
or they scratch records. depending what kind of DJ. Like,
So if you go, reek, reek,
then you're if all you got to do is do that, then you become a DJ.
this is gonna sound ignorant.
Yeah.
Is that a skill or is that a thing anyone can kind of do?
It's a skill. It's definitely a skill. I mean, like it's a skill that like some people get really amazing at. And there's like juggling records. There's all these things you can do as a DJ. And I've definitely I've toured with a lot of DJs who are like amazing at what they do. Like they'll take a sound and it'll become like a solo. Like they'll scratch it so it'll sound like a flute solo or something like that. Like
That's fun.
So that's this guy. God, why am I going blank on his name? Probably because I'm hungover.
Steve Aoki?
Steve Aoki. This guy, Steve Aoki. No, I'm just going. He's another artist that was on the same label as me, and I'm totally going blank right now. But he was whatever.
DJ Zone?
No. Kid Koala. Kid Koala.
Oh, nice.
Kid Koala. Kid Koala is like a DJ that's like, holy shit, you are on another level. But then there's people that DJ at bars around here. They're just like playing new songs, and then and they can blend, and the songs seamlessly go into each other. But that's about it.
They're just taking credit.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's kind of like and they usually have more attitude than like producers do.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Suckers.
Yeah, they're just like I can get girls to dance.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm gonna name some people. You tell me, DJ or producer.
Okay.
Steve Aoki.
He's a DJ. So a lot of people are both though.
Oh yeah.
I think he's just a DJ, but it's possible he makes music as well.
I'll tell you this. I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
I've just seen his name at the Borgata.
His father owns Benihana or some shit like that. His father
was a restaurateur.
Yeah.
I should have said that. Okay, we're changing the game. It's DJ, producer, or restaurateur. TGI Fridays. No. Who else is there? Well, that's the end of the game.
That's it.
That's what we did. I can't think of a single DJ.
I love that you know who I am, but Stevie Aoki is like this mystery character. Well, which is kind of cool, but it's just a funny,
I think a lot of I don't know what this is, but I think that road. So I was raised in Newark, so like rap was thrown on me, but I rejected it because I was the only white guy. So it was a lot of this like.
I would think you would lean into it.
That was the only way to go. So like everyone was forced to. I went the opposite. I rollerbladed. Like everything that you should not do in the hood, I did because I just went. I'm straight edge. Like
so, you went Springsteen, or you went? I know you went. Were you like a punk rock kid?
I was. Yeah, I was in like a lot of hardcore music, punk. I mean, I definitely love rap and came up in a lot of rap. But I was definitely into like a lot of hardcore music.
Right.
I even remember. I think the road started with Del the Funk. I remember. Because I was into Onyx. The Judgment Night soundtrack came out.
Oh yeah, that was a big one for rock rap guys. Yeah, which is like my least favorite music. Like rock, not that album particularly, but like rock rap is like the most offensive version of the two things.
Rock rap, when it's bad, it's rock rap. But when it's good, I don't think you notice. Like Rage Against the Machine could be considered rock rap, right?
Yeah, I mean when Rage Against the Machine was something I never paid attention to.
Oh, okay.
But I was also like a purist asshole underground rap guy. So I was very like, I was like, these guys are rapping about like I was mad at like Mason Puffy and shit. Like that was my and like 2 years later I was like, man, I was dumb. There's some good music. You kind of come around to that stuff. But yeah, like the Rage Against the Machine was never just because I didn't really like rock. Like I never was a rock guy. Like I never like like that sound does not do anything for me still.
Yeah.
So anything that was like that, I just kind of was like,
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of bad. Like, I don't like. I mean, I like everything. That's like my whole shtick with life. It's like,
fine.
I've never seen a movie that I don't like.
Really?
Swear to God, any movie I can get one thing out of it, I go worth it. Well, there's like 2 or 3 movies I would say I hate.
I'm trying to think of movies I need to tell you to see then, because there's some really bad ones out there.
I want to do movie reviews by the guy who loves everything. Yeah, and it's just like that was great. Star Wars. There was a Star Wars movie I hated, and I'm like a fucking nerd. So that second of one of the new ones I thought was offensive because they killed Luke. I don't want to get into that. Let's not, please. I don't want to show that to you right now. But the Judgment Day soundtrack, I liked Onyx, so I got that.
Yes.
And then that's how I found out about Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
And Onyx is a good jumping point from like hardcore punk shit to rap because they're yelling.
Yeah, it's hard.
And they're always that way. There was a kind of a camaraderie of the two things because they were kind of these counterculture things and it was like the white guy version of rap for kids that didn't have anything to do with rap.
Who was the other guy? There was a dude. What's the song? What's Your Life Like? It was like the hardest rap song I ever heard. It's called What's Your Life Like? He's a guy's just about being in prison. It's crazy. Can't think of the song.
I know that song. I can't think of who made it.
Hung out with Jay-Z or something. Doesn't matter.
No, What's Your Life Like? I don't know.
What's Your Life Like? No, it's like fucking a man. It's like there's some homophobia in there.
Oh, that was the big thing back then.
Yeah. But it was like Del the fucking Homo Sapien was the first guy who went, oh, this is different and crazy. What is this? And then like years later, I got into like Atmosphere and
The underground
Aesop and
stuff,
the underground
yeah.
stuff, and that all kind of happened. And I got into it because someone gave me a CD marked Eminem. And they just put all the alt rap under. Like, that's all just Eminem.
There's like all just the white rappers they could find and put it.
Yeah. And it kind of like sprung from all that. But I'm a big lyrics. I don't know why I was talking about this. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I don't know how interviews go. So are you happy?
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, let me see this next one. Who are you influenced as a man? Not as a producer, but as a man. Who are your influences? I was very high.
God, I can't even imagine who that would be. Honestly,
You could say pass.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't even begin. Like, my mind's like, who the fuck am I influenced by?
I don't know what
I
that.
have no idea. I mean, not musically too. Like as a person living their life.
If you say anything musically, I'm gonna edit it out.
No, when I play basketball, influenced by Lamar Odom.
It's good.
How he played, not his crack smoking life and marrying a Kardashian, but like the way he played.
Lamar Odom smoke crack?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, he might still smoke crack. But as far as living life, I don't know. Like if I'm very, I'm kind of like Seinfeld on Seinfeld. I'm like it always kind of works out for me.
That's great.
And everyone around me is like Elaine and Kramer and George.
This is actually a question that's not on this. Are you music? So let me tell you this. So I started doing this thing called, I don't even want to tell you about this because it's a fun thing to do in comedy, but you have a guy who's a real producer here. We don't want you to know about this. We started this thing. We do this thing called Night Cream. It's my friend does beats, and he would just come over. I would get stoned, and I would just kind of
Freestyle?
No,
No.
free associate. There's no rhyming. It's just talk.
Like jokes?
So I went to the store and I saw this rabbit. What's he about? This rabbit's got a lot of attitude. What's the fucking wrong with you, rabbit? Like
Oh, okay. Just
whatever happens. He'd cut it up, turn it into a song, send it back to me. First of all, he comes over, he goes, sing into this microphone. I would sing, and then he didn't laugh once, shut the computer, left, sent me a song back and goes, this is the best thing you've ever done. And it never smiled, my man Harumi. He just shows no emotions. And so I guess why I was asking this question, it was not to tell you about that.
That's an interesting thing, though. It sounds like like an improv.
Yeah.
Like improv people would do. Like an improv, like like a little bit.
No, I mean it is. It's free word. It's to me. I think
Spoken word poetry a little bit.
it's not spoken. I don't want to show you because I don't want to watch it in front of you because it's so embarrassing. But I do want you to. I'll just show you like a clip. Is that all right? Is this,
Yeah.
No, this is setting myself up for embarrassment on myself. But just to give you a taste, this is the last one we did. This is on my Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So like we took the. And then we just. This is more of a song. That's not.
I like that he got you.
Oh, this is
audio.
Oh, sorry. I'll put it in here. So he just turns on a beat, and then this happens.
Jesus used to skateboard, wasn't that good? Could do some fun tricks, but mostly he hung on the side by the
Just tell stories, just dumb. It's just to be funny. It's not music.
I like that. I like that you're using the auto tune because that makes it, that brings it up to, it becomes music.
This is the thing is, I really want to ride the line of what is music. They just go like, I don't know, man. That's barely even music.
I mean, you could make an album of stuff like that.
We did.
Yeah.
We did an we did an album, and it's not. I hate that I'm talking about this. This is like, it's like if you walked in and talked to George Carlin, you're like, I wrote some bits, and it's like, yeah, man, I don't want to hear about your bits. And there's a reason I brought this up was what were we talking about right before that?
Influences in life, but I think this was connected to something else. I think.
I had another.
I think you were going to ask me something having to do with production, I imagine, but I don't know what.
I'll ask you this about production.
Okay.
Because this is what I think about comedy. So in the words of comedy, it's like a new comedian will go, you wait for funny things to happen, and then you talk about them. Mm-hmm. Then you get better, and you start to see funny things, and then you write about them. And then when you get great, you make things you want to talk about funny. Mm-hmm. So as a producer, because I've made little beats before just for fun, but the way I would do it is I just put in sounds and then try to see what comes next as like what could sound like music. How do you do you like do you walk around going, that's a beat, that's a beat, that's a beat?
No,
like
not
how do
not
you
at all. Well, I sample. So all my my like I sample old music, so things all start from there.
Right.
So like I mean, there's sometimes I'll hear things like I'll hear there's like the documentary about the Bee Gees. I don't know if you ever saw it, if you saw it, but there's a part where they're like going over a bridge and he hears like a chick 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 chick, and then they made that a drum track.
Right.
Like that kind of stuff will happen sometimes. Where I'll hear rhythms and I'll try to remember it and put it into songs. But mostly it's like going through samples. That's cool. Start there, build off that, and then everything just kind of builds off that.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's very like and I'm pretty locked into how I do it at this point because I've been doing it for so long. So it's like, it's kind of easy.
So if someone came up to you and was like, I want you to do a specific type of thing, do you do that, or you just go like, can you do like, can you do that?
It depends. It depends. I mean, if someone's like, can you score this movie? I'm like, well, I sample, so I'd have to find something that I probably could. Right. But also, I don't play instruments. I mean, I can figure things out on a keyboard.
That was the question.
Oh, there it is. Okay, boom. See, we found it. We found it.
Yes, that was the question. Is like, are you because
I play no instruments. I can figure stuff out on a keyboard. That's about it.
Let me tell you this. My respect just went up for you. 5,000%.
It's all ear. I'm all ears.
Yeah.
Because
I have so many music fucking psychos who were like I had a friend. I was like, I wanted to learn guitar, and then my guitar friend was like, it's really hard, man. I was like, I want to learn piano, and they're like, it's a little too. And I'm like, fuck off, man. So they always made me feel like I couldn't do music.
Yeah.
And I believe we're artists. I'm a comedian. You're a DJ, and like I think that people should do things out of their box because it's allowed. Because, like you said, you've been doing it long enough. You're kind of locked in. That's how I am with stand up. I'm locked in. So then I don't find these other outlets to be free and weird. So then over pandemic, I started painting. I'm not a good painter, but it's like you should paint. I just made music. I didn't make it to be like the typical comedian who tries to rap. I just wanted to make some beats and explore artistically. But you constantly get this hate from other people who are like, well, you're not that, so you shouldn't do that.
People hate when you do two things.
Right.
Or
just try.
But I think people should try to do different things. But it's hard though. Like if you're known as this one thing,
right? Like
it's really hard for when a rapper becomes an actor or like when by the way, but like both things are rapping and acting are two things that anyone can do, but not everyone can do well.
Right.
And often, but it's like literally anyone can do both those things. like a frat guy, a drunk frat guy can rap. Like
I can rap. Let's see. I went to the house and I saw this little girl, and man, that bitch was hot. No, I don't know. That was weird. Why did I
good
do
pattern.
That? I should shut the fuck up. No, but keep going. Yeah.
No, I'm saying like it's and then or painting. Like Aesop paints. Aesop is a fine arts major. Like
Aesop Rocky?
Aesop Rocky.
Had to do it.
People, the confusion people have when I meet someone who doesn't know, they're like, oh, what do you do? Like, and we have that fucking conversation. And like, I'm a producer, and like, I'm like, oh, who do you work with? I was like, I've worked with some rappers. Like, anyone I know? I was like, well, have you heard of Aesop Rock? Like, Aesop Rocky?
I know.
I'm like,
one.
not him.
Yeah.
I like him too, but it's not him. It's a different guy.
Aesop's next album should be called Aesop Rock, not him, the other guy.
Yeah, the other guy.
I swear, the better one.
I'm
met. Telling you.
They met.
I saw the video, and it gave me no information about how either one of them felt.
I think they're both just like, oh, hey. Like, because I honestly don't think, because people are like, Aesop Rocky took his name. I'm like, I guarantee you he did not know who Aesop Rock was.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. He's just a young dude from Harlem that was not listening to like underground rap.
Yeah. My name, I changed my name in comedy originally to Rob Schneider. And everyone was like, you can't do that. And I was like, I ended up going back, but
you should have stuck with it. Man. You could have taken over Rob Schneider. You could be,
yeah. What? So when you work with him, right? This is the thing I don't understand. Like the way Harumi and I work, and this is two comedians, right? So it's not the right way.
Yeah.
Do you go like, I'm just gonna make some beats on my own, and then you call him and go, here, rap over this? Or
well, in this case,
how does this work?
With this album, it was like we were in both in lockdown during the pandemic and just scratching our balls, and he was just like, hey, you got any beats? And I was like, and I haven't sent him beats in 10 years because he had been making his own beats in the last like 3 or 4 albums. And I was like, I have hundreds of beats.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, send me some. And I sent him some. And he was like, I like these. I'm going to make a song. And that's how it happened. And
does he send you cash? How does that work?
No. No, that's all later. That's all later. We've we're old friends, so we don't have to do the
I just always wondered how that worked. It's like
he cash out
Venmo me. Friends and family, dude.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay the fee.
Exactly. Exactly. No, it was very like just like, hey, send me, and just he'd send him a song back,
That's awesome.
and then and that just keep going till we had an album.
Oh, that's still kind of like, remember, I don't know if you remember this band, and it's going to make me look like a woman, but the Postal Service. I remember when the Postal Service came out.
I've heard of the Postal Service.
Yeah, it was like a emo shit. They just, one was on California, one was in Jersey or something, and they like sent stuff over through the mail, the music, and then they kind of did it over that.
It's very doable.
It's very doable, especially now.
Yeah.
Also, before you mentioned the auto-tune thing, it's like, I get how people hate auto-tune, but it's like, but I'm not a singer, nor am I a musician. So let me just have a good time.
Autotune's fun.
Stop judging me.
Autotune's fun.
Right? Fuck it.
Yeah. I had my moment of hating it, and there's still elements of I hate. Like, I don't like when people talk in it, and they're not even trying to sing. So it's just like, it just sounds like they're not, there's no like key to what they're saying.
Yeah, so you hate robots.
Yeah, I just don't like robots. Basically, I don't like robots. But, autotune, hey.
Right. I mean, all things are fun. It just matters like, this actually brings up a weird thought I was having too about Aesop Rock, is that where you are placed in society kind of like, so if I do auto-tune, no one should care. I'm a fucking comedian. Right? Yeah. It's like, I'm not trying to do this. Mm-hmm. But then when you get put on this high level, if it took off, everyone would be like, yeah, that guy can't sing. None of this is good, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, now you're taking this all the way too serious.
Oh, yeah.
Or
imagine this, not to cut you off.
No.
Imagine this. If Aesop did a song with auto-tune. Well, I think my mic just went out. Hello. There we are. I'm back.
Yeah.
If Aesop did a song with auto-tune, people would be like, he's done.
Right.
They'd lose their mind.
Goodbye.
They'd be so mad. Like I had a song on one of my albums where I used a what is it? I'm so brain dead, man.
Yeah, who cares?
It's a keyboard that you talk into, like the guy from
vocoder.
Vocoder. Thank you.
How did I know that?
I don't know. Man.
Sorry.
I'm glad you did. I was gonna fish around for that one for like 20 minutes, but I use a vocoder on a song, and I had a friend do it because I don't play the vocoder, but and people are like, "Oh, this fucking auto-tune shit is on his album." I'm like, dude, it's not that. Like literally, Roger Troutman used this shit.
Yeah.
Like this is something way older than that. But it's the animosity it got from certain really uninformed people who are just mad at auto-tune.
Did you see that Tiny Guest? So who's the big? Now I'm blanking.
Tiny Guest concert. Where
Tiny Guest. Yeah, it's a big desk and a little man stands on it. It's a lot of short people.
It's all Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Tiny Guest.
They did Tiny Desk concert with who's the big auto-tune guy who everyone hated?
T-Pain.
T-Pain.
And he can sing his ass off.
And he sang his fucking. I was like, I started crying. I was so happy for him. I was like, bless you, sir. Like,
there's a good documentary about him.
I think I watched it.
And he's the man.
He seems like the nicest, greatest guy.
He seems like a really good guy. You root for him,
I do.
Yeah.
Still am, because he's not doing well.
No. I think he's all right. He'll be all right. He'll be all right.
But like, I don't know. That thought's gone.
Yeah, cool.
It's fine. Totally fine. Let me get back to this. I got a.
I'm curious where these questions
Next
are
one
going.
just says, God, you in or out? Who do
I'm
you
out.
pray to when
I'm all the
all's
way
well?
out on that.
Which brings up a thing is, sorry.
Yeah.
I ask you a question, then I go, give me. I'll talk again. If you don't.
Oh, no, that was my answer. I'm out. I'm out.
Me too. So, but holy smokes. I did
produce that.
God, don't tell me I'm wrong. You produced that.
Yeah, I did produce that. Yeah.
That was, I remember that hitting me at the time where I was like, I needed this.
Yeah.
Because it was the first, like, atheists are always like judged as like these like hateful, angry, but that song was like, I'm not an asshole.
I just don't.
Just a little.
Were you raised Catholic?
None. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I was raised with no religion, so it never even. I was like, what? I remember I had one thought when I was 17. I was like, that's stupid, and I never thought about it again.
That's why they don't try to tell you religion after when you're 18.
Yeah.
If you really believe this,
Yeah.
you start teaching people when they're 18.
Right.
They get you when you're a little tiny elephant.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't know you're strong.
But Aesop went to school had a religious upbringing to an extent.
Yeah.
And so he had that Holy Smokes is like a reaction to that, and he brings it up sometimes in his music. But it's people who had to like unlearn that shit. It's pretty. It sounds like a lot. I can't relate.
8th grade, I had to break down everything that I knew and relearn. I always say it sucks that this is the band that I connected to, but Incubus had this song called "Make Yourself," which was like, whatever you think. Like I wasn't like whatever, but it kind of made that thing of like, I remember 8th grade, I had to rebuild all of what I knew because it was like, all of this is bullshit, and everyone who I trust believes it. Like, am I smarter than everyone?
Like your parents included?
My parents, my dad.
That must be tough.
It's
when you're like, you really think that? Like,
yeah.
Really? Yeah.
It's real weird. My dad is a very funny guy, and we can have fun conversations about it, but like ultra when I went to a pro-choice rally with my wife, and my dad was there on the other side. You know,
Christmas must be serious
it's
in your family.
Like yesterday, I and my dad is. See, my mom is weird, and my stepdad is like a kind of like a nut about it.
Yeah.
But my dad, you can fuck with him. My dad, I'm like, hey, you fucking dummy. He's from he's an old Bronx Italian guy, so he's
It's
like,
so ingrained in those dudes, though. You know,
right, and he's sober.
Yeah.
So the big thing is that I had a brother who passed away at birth. It was like a stillborn thing. That my dad, I think, clung to religion because of that, and then also being a sober guy, I think that's another thing that he's like, I don't want to break that from him because I'm afraid what'll happen. Yeah. So I'm like, you only got like 20, 30 years left. Like, that's fine.
And it's kind of like, what's the point of taking it away at this point? Like, you know, you're not going to win. It's not like you can win the argument.
Right.
They believe what they believe. You believe what you believe.
But none of it makes
It's like,
any sense.
No.
Any sense.
Like when you, it's so insane.
So insane.
And it's funny because, like, you know, in growing up in New York, like, I was around a lot of Jewish. I mean, I'm half Jewish. My dad was Jewish, and his one of his parents was a rabbi or something.
Sure.
Like, you know, but you know, my dad was much older than, you know, he was 60 when he had me, right, when I was born. So, like, you know,
Your dad was 60?
yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's
That's a whole thing.
Oh yeah, I'm the youngest of 7. I have a brother who's 75 years old.
What?
I have a half brother who's 75 years old now.
That's crazy.
I have a niece who's 42.
Can I ask your age? I don't know if that's
I'm
a
45.
thing. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right, all right.
So I'm like, but I'm like,
You're great.
yeah. Thanks, man.
So, all right, go ahead. So, yeah.
but so he came from religion, but he also, you know, he came over from Poland when he was 3 in 1920.
Oh, right.
And so he grew up in Pittsburgh, a very Jewish upbringing, but he was also an artist. And I think when he got out of town, he was just like, fuck all this shit.
Right.
And he tried to do Passover once, and we were all just like, nah, this won't sit. And then, and my mom wasn't religious, but she was also like from, you know, she was a WASP.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So it was just two people that didn't care.
Yeah.
But my mom would always like argue with me about, like, kind of a, you know, devil's advocate me with the religious argument. I'm just like, but you don't really believe that, right?
Right.
And she's like, no, but you have to give it consideration. I'm like, do I?
Right. Which is also kind of training you to think critically.
Yeah.
And also battle people in the real world when they push this crazy shit.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I was like 22 when she was doing that.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But, you know. Still.
But dude, like everyone right now gets so mad. I'm super, like, I'm not like, everyone gets so mad at like QAnon and Trump supporters and all this stuff. And I go, yeah, but also you all believe that a snake tricked a woman. So, like, you think this is crazy? You think the Democrats drinking blood is a crazy thought? You think fucking there's a boat that had 2 of every animal.
Well, they're often on the same side of the argument.
Yeah. They believe that shit. They all believe that shit. Yeah. It's like I'm not saying they're right, or I'm just saying, like, they're clearly not right. But I go, like, I have empathy for some of these people because we were raised in believing the dumbest shit is real.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we're trained to believe this insane stuff. And that's why people are afraid of death and all that. I'm afraid of death. But we're all like afraid of, like, we don't accept death for what it is. And it's all wild shit.
Like, you know, there's one thing I've never thought about in my life is what happens after I die.
You never thought about it?
I don't give a shit what happens after I die. Because I'm dead.
Right.
I'm dead. Like, someone's like, this is a fucked up thing, but someone's like, would you take a bullet for me? I'm like, no, because then I'm dead.
Right.
Like, I love you, but then I no longer exist anymore.
But when you're dead, you won't care that you're dead.
That's true. That's a good point.
So it's always that's where I get caught up. Because if I don't care if I die, then why am I trying to stay alive?
Oh yeah.
Why I don't, you know?
Like David Cross has that old bit about what to do with his body after he dies.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like fucking, he's like, fuck me, throw me around. Like I was like, yeah, like it doesn't matter. It truly doesn't matter.
It's why I'm pro cannibalism.
Yeah.
People get very weird. I'm like, let my life.
If you're dead.
Sustain other, yes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Eat me.
Sure, why not?
Send me to a place where people can't.
Yeah.
Greg Steaks, you know?
It'd be like a pop-up though. I don't know how much.
Very shortly.
Yeah.
We are all out of Greg.
Yeah. If you get past the calves and the thighs, you're like, do I really want the back? And
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to make the dick joke, but you know, it's there. We're all comedians.
That's like sweet breads. Yeah, that's like sweet breads.
Yeah, no, it's God, we're out. Good.
Yeah, way out on that.
Also, Mike, let me know. Also, if I don't know if you have any time constraints because I feel like we've been doing 9 hours, but I don't. Okay, Mike will tell me at some point. I will say that we do a. You do not have. I love how I'm doing this on air, so you're whatever. But I do a Patreon, which is just we do a little bit of extra time. You do not have to stay for that. But if you're having a good time,
yeah.
okay.
Fun. These things fly by. It's like
I know. I'm having a blast.
Podcast. That's the fastest version of time. It feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're at 40 minutes right now.
Wow.
Also,
Stop interrupting us.
sorry. To answer your question from earlier, it was Zaza Pachulia.
Zaza
Yeah.
Pachulia. Yes.
Zaza.
Yes. He did that in the playoffs. He understepped a guy's foot, and
Yeah.
he was a piece of shit. I didn't know he got on the All-Star team. That's crazy.
So the way the All-Star team worked was they used to have this voting rule.
Yeah, that the fans would vote people in.
So he got his whole country. There's like 3 million people in his country.
What country was he from? Do we know?
I was literally going to say a weird one, which is like,
Yeah.
what a weird. That's
his name is
thing.
Zaza Pachulia.
Come on, Jaja.
He's not from France.
It's some weird alien.
Somewhere Eastern.
Yeah.
East.
One of those white guy countries that's like.
I've been to a lot of those places.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. I forget that you're.
I've been to Russia like 5 times. I've been to Romania a bunch. I've been Ukraine tons of times.
Yeah, what's that like?
Which one? They're all different.
Got any?
He is Georgian, by the way.
Georgian.
So coincidentally.
That's
Yes,
right.
Georgian. There you
Georgian.
go. Haven't been there. Have not been there.
So I'm such a bad interviewer. You clearly have so many great stories that I
don't know.
could.
They're more just like, Russia's weird. So is Ukraine.
But-
Polish people are really kind if you don't tell them you're Jewish.
Beats speak every language.
Yeah, no, that's one thing where I can, especially in Eastern Europe, and for some reason, not having a rapper on stuff has actually benefited me in those countries, I should say.
Is anyone ever rapping and you're just like, you know what, man, get out of here. Let me do this shit.
Like on my tracks.
Yeah, and you're just like,
No, only if they're doing it. Some people will come up to me at a show and like try to freestyle for me. Mm-hmm. Like they're like I'm auditioning people. Like I have a record label or something.
yeah.
And I'm always like, no, don't do that, because it's really an assault.
Did you say it's assault?
An assault.
Yes.
Yes. It's like
You have no idea how similar it is to comedy.
people with bits. They come up
They come right up to you and they start doing bits
or tag. They try to tag your own
every
jokes.
single time.
Yeah,
Every single fucking time.
it's so annoying.
Yeah. But I'm like, just be cool. We can hang.
It's amazing how hard it is for people to be cool sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I've had things, when I do shows, I work my own merch booth because it sells more stuff.
Yeah.
But so I meet a lot of cool people, but I also get in a lot of conversations where I get kind of cornered.
Right.
And my friend Elliot Lipp, who's another producer, calls them punishers because they just fucking they're just blinders on and going at you. And then they're talking to you and they're like, and they're fans. And then, but within like a minute, they're like, so let me tell you all about my music.
Yeah. Like I did about Night Cream.
No, but that's that at least was in the flow of conversation.
Yeah.
Like they're like, let me tell you, it's just like, dude,
I know.
I'm not here for that. Like
They want you to be proud of them.
yeah.
In this weird
Yeah.
weird connection.
I get it, but I don't get it.
I know. What I do is as soon as they come up, I just go, hey man, so where are you from? I just take over the conversation and start forcing them down normal, boring conversation. Just like, hey, we don't have to do any of that. People will come up after shows and they go, you were funny, you were not that good. And it's like,
Oh yeah.
hilarious.
Oh yeah. That's first time I ever played in Germany. I was in Frankfurt, and Germans are very honest. And a guy came up and he's like, I like your album, but I like songs 4, 7, and 8, and the rest I do not like very much. And I was just like, oh,
Thanks.
cool, man.
I
Thanks.
guess I'll delete them.
Yes, I was like sorry.
What do I do with any of that?
I'll do better next time, I promise.
That's wild that this. But I get it. But I'm also like, it's nice to have fans, but then they don't know how to talk to you. They don't know. It's like, hey man, I just pretend like So I'm a big comic book fan. I met this guy, Jim Lee is like one of the biggest like comic book artists. And so I didn't want to freak out. And I did this to you when you came in. I was just going to like pretend like you don't know anything he's done. Like just don't do that because I don't want to be a fan. I want to be cool and have a conversation, right? But you immediately then forget. It's just like now we're talking, and then you're like, I was in Germany. I'm like, oh right, yeah, I'm talking to Blockhead. That's what's happening. This is not phony. But you get into these. So I always put it in my mindset. I go, not pretend you don't know them, but like. Just talk to them like you talk to somebody on the elevator.
Right.
Like it's much easier and you can a lot of times you can just talk to people.
And it's hard to have a good conversation when there's an imbalance in power.
Right.
It's kind of like
Right.
dating a hotter person.
Right.
You're just always like, you got the leg up in this one.
Yeah, it's
Like,
never happened to me.
You're gonna win. You're gonna win this one. You're gonna win every argument. But like when someone is obviously like a super fan,
Right.
And you're just like, I don't know you, like you're just a stranger,
Yeah.
and you appreciate it, but it's also like you're talking to me like I'm not a human being,
Right.
And I am very much a human being.
You're all like
Yeah.
people think they're like,
I'm not even famous. Imagine being actually famous. Like, Jesus Christ.
well, you see, I mean, I see it a lot because at the Comedy Cellar, you'll be here and then like
Chappelle will show up and people just be like, what? I mean, do people have access to him?
I mean, weird. So at the Olive Tree, the restaurant downstairs, kind of. I mean, people could kind of get to him if they really wanted to, but he makes himself a little more and but like Aziz, they'll all be there, and then you can kind of go to the table. Managers will probably be like, hey, you need to leave because they know it's annoying.
Yeah.
But then some of them
They'll tell the comedians to leave?
no.
Oh, the people that are bothering them.
There's a sign that says this table is for comedians only.
Right.
So if a weirdo walks over, and they're all drunk, you know,
yeah.
when they come over, a manager will be like, hey, I'm sorry, you need to.
I've always wondered about that. I've always wondered about like the fan interactions between comedians, and because there is no like backstage, right? Or it's not.
Well, it depends on the club.
Here, I mean, in the cellar.
At the cellar down there, there's the table, and so it's busy, so you kind of can't. You could if you really wanted to get over, but they'll if you're clearly being weird, everyone knows, and they just get you to leave. And so many comedians, they're so tight in, that like. You know, it's like it's hard to break. You have to be a real social psycho.
You must miss Patrice for those moments, huh? I hear he was probably the best person of ever clearing out a room.
Yeah, I mean, I only met him once, and he was very nice to me. But all of those stories,
I love him.
Yeah, he was
I love him.
Elephant in the Room was one of the best specials of all time.
But also just like him, just as like a philosopher.
Right.
It's one of those things that you're like, I can't believe he's saying that. I don't agree with it, but you know what? I also don't not agree with it because he's making such a case.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a point.
Yeah,
this is my big thing with comedy. Oh, why am I Who do you like? Who your comics do you like?
I mean, shit. Like it's pretty basic stuff.
I won't be offended. You can say
no. I mean, like it's all like I like Bill Burr. I like shit. Putting me on the spot, it's hard to think. It's hard to think. No, I'm just a fan of stand up comedy in general. Like and I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Right.
Like I used to listen to like murder podcasts, but I stopped doing that because I can't fall asleep to them.
Yeah, that's really creepy.
I mean, just like this. I mean, there's all the guys you think I'd like.
Sure. No,
I'd like, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard to whittle them down. It's funny that Bill Burr is the only name I came up with, but
he's like the best.
Yeah, Bill Burr's amazing.
And I think we all know that he's
amazing. Yeah.
He's one of the best.
Yeah.
Bill Burr, Patrice, it's all that kind of style.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of see what's a problem with them. I don't know if this happens in music. Is that you'll get these guys, especially Patrice, who then they do a thing, and then everyone else thinks it's big with Chappelle that to be good they have to do what he did.
Oh yeah,
and they can't do that, and so they try to be these philosophers saying some dumbass shit. But what they forget is, and this is my big problem with comedians, is that people listen to comedians. They like,
oh yeah,
comedians don't have answers. We have like good questions.
Joe Rogan, for instance,
right,
is a guy that people are like, so he's like a religious leader, right?
Yeah,
it's like this guy.
But you know why Rogan was good? He was good because he'd ask good questions. He'd have smart people on who then you'd be like, that's interesting. Like, really good stuff. Yeah. But once you go to them for the answers, you're dead.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to be funny or they're trying to be famous.
Or they do, I mean, I feel weird talking about this on a comedy podcast, but there's comedians who I think are really funny. Like I think Andrew Schultz is funny. I think Chris DiStefano is funny. But they're so loosey-goosey with their opinions on things, and I know they're thinking it from a comedian standpoint, but the people listening don't think from comedian standpoint. So they're like, oh, you're mad about vaccination cards? I'm mad about vaccination cards. And I'm like, dude, it's so frustrating as like a normal brained human being to like see, like if you look at the comments in like Schultz's like videos, it's insane.
Right.
Like you would think he's like Rush Limbaugh or something like that. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And I know he's not like that. And
No.
I mean, I don't know him personally, but
He's a normal person.
yeah, he's exactly. He's a New York guy, so I'm I always have my got love for the New York guys. But it's just that shit bothers me, and it's kind of like the similar thing with like music. Like, do you blame the musician or do you blame the fans?
Right.
And I tend to blame the fans because unless the musician's like just out there, or the comedians out there like
there's
inciting riots or some shit. But it's like usually it's like, yo, your fan base, they don't always get it.
There's a third option that you need to blame, the algorithm.
Oh yeah,
because the problem is that I know if I go out and I go, vaccine cards are bullshit, Democrats are drinking blood, the algorithm is going to push that, the comments and all that stuff. So then it becomes easy to be like, well, these are the takes I got to get. I know of so many comedians who became super right wing or super left wing just because that's going to push them, and they forget about being funny.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why you have no idea who I am, because I'm just so fucking funny, and I refuse to take any
I
goddamn
just stick to
stances.
just the funny. I don't do fucking.
What's up, Fight fans? This podcast ended up going very nice and long. We had a really great conversation. If you want to hear the rest of this podcast, go sign up to the Greg Stone Zone on patreon.com. Spoiler alert, Blockhead and I get into a real sex fight. It is fun. So you're going to want to check out the rest of that. Thank you so much for listening. Follow Mike V. Suarez. I am Greg F. Stone. Follow Blockhead on all social media. Get Garbology. It's a great album. We'll see you all on the Patreon.
Pick up your head, pick up your body, get on the bus, it's time to party. It's Gregory, it is a Saturday night Gregory. Take your socks off and take your pants on, get in the car and drive on Friday night Gregory. It is a Saturday night Gregory. Born in the darkness, my man was too high. He created the show, so that is why that you have Gregory. Oh, Friday